Welcome to the Philosophy of Chillin. I'm your host, Dylan the Connect. Yeah, it's been so fun having guests. Like, this is the first time I've had this many at once. Like, like you all's mic is already on me, so. I was about to look around like, where did I put it? But it's here, so perfect. So with that being said, I typically pass it over to my guests to introduce themselves. And as you can tell, they're comfortable. They love film, they love creativity, they love photography, cinematography, lighting, graphing. We have questions about everything, but we're gonna get into that because there is people behind the actions and the intentions. So, without further ado, this is the Philosophy of Chillin through NOCO 2024. We're gonna talk about pretty much everything. This is an introduction not only to them as individuals, but also to their creativity and what we're doing with a company, organization, cohort, family. I mean, so many terms that we can utilize, but at the same time, I'm gonna kick it off to you guys.
You got the mic. Hi guys. Philosophy of Chillin viewers, friends, family. Sorry. Apologies. Sorry. Don't laugh at the mic. Sorry.
Sure, thank you.
So my name is Kay, or you can call me Kayla McLean, since apparently we do that nowadays. And I'm 19. I'm a creative. Don't say my age.
Oh, I thought you was 20.
Oh.
What? Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
You thought she was 20?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair though.
You just turned 19, no?
In March.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm 19. Creative through and through. Mostly like film, photography. I write sometimes. And I'm very happy to be here. Yeah.
Introductions. I hate introductions. Okay, my name's Yomari. I'm 20, and I love all art. I'm an actress. I love acting, and I love music.
Hey, what's up? My name is Emmanuel. I am a photographer, aspiring videographer and filmmaker. And my fault,
You
bro.
are.
Okay, I am. I am a film. I am face ass. I am a filmmaker, so I'm gonna put that title. I just hate titles, but I am a filmmaker. But yeah, I'm with the homies, and we finna just have a conversation. So what?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought I turned it off.
You blew us earlier, that's why. Let's just be transparent.
Yeah.
That's why. That's where that's coming from. Yeah, people gonna talk about it. Thank you.
Talk about you. Me too. Girl, me too. Okay.
What's up?
Nothing. I'm waiting for you.
Oh,
Aren't
you
you our
had
host?
the microphone ready, so I was like, well, what we need to know? Like, okay, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So typically I have an overarching topic, and it'll be stemmed from just an umbrella question that I have, and then as the conversation goes on, we're essentially getting into the nuances of, like, I guess your experiences, what goes into them, how does that drive you forward, how does that move you forward and drive you to keep going. You want to say something?
Mm-mm.
Okay, for sure. So with that being said, like I said, the episode of today is NOCO 2024, and that's only because that's what brought us together.
Yeah.
But
Aw, when you put it like that.
I mean, for sure,
That's so
like,
sweet, yeah.
I would
Yeah, because
not have ran
like,
into.
I probably walk by like y'all
Yeah.
in this city and
For
just
sure.
You would just walk by me.
probably like. I mean, what would I even say? Like, hey, you go, how the fuck you know my name? Can we curse on here? I know if we curse, so I'm gonna keep it. Cause I know we gotta go on like YouTube. And shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But yeah. So, what else should we?
So, what up?
No, he trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
So essentially, my question was, when it came to choosing to put your vulnerability or self fully into your creativity, what did that path look like for you mentally, spiritually, physically, like, and how have you utilized those experiences to become who you are now and develop the ideology you have and put currently into your work?
Go first.
Yeah,
You have an answer?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have something, but I would say my work allows me to be vulnerable because without it, I don't think I'm like a vulnerable person. Just in general, I think I am like very reserved, but and maybe understanding, but vulnerability is not like my biggest I would say attribute. With photography I learned about perspective and just seeing the world through different lens, which is why I don't film photography, because I think that's the closest to how I see the world. And I think my world allows me, well, what I see allowed me to be open to ideas and also be open to people, because in this business or whatever, I'll say my lifestyle, I think you have to be able to connect with people on a certain medium. And this allowed me to connect with people, whether it be models, whether it be just random people on the street, just having a conversation. And it allowed me to be more open. And I'll say my vulnerability is my work, is how I show how I feel and my medium. And because up front, I would not tell you what's going on with me or what's wrong, because for me, it's always felt like a burden to just tell people what was wrong with me.
Mm.
But through my work, I feel like I can just release some of that and be like, here you go. And people can interpret that however they want. So I know it's vague, but it's just the best I got right now.
That wasn't vague. Don't say that. That wasn't vague.
My
That's the
fault.
most that
My
everyone
fault. My fault. Thank you. But yeah, I'm gonna answer Kayla.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's funny because we were just like kind of having a conversation like this, but kind of like Emmanuel said, like I definitely speak through my art. A lot of the things I don't say out loud, like you'll find in the things that I write or the pictures I take. But sometimes those things end up being things I don't even like share with the world. So then it ends up being just like a secret between me and myself.
Which I think is even more beautiful though. Like when an artist, sorry, go ahead.
No, keep going.
When an artist creates something, but for the sole purpose of it being for themselves. And I think a lot of artists, like, we can be pretentious, and it's like we want to always show the product and like have people be like, ooh, and like have an opinion on it. But I feel like what makes, I don't know, in a strange way, an artist, a true artist, is when they're able to create something for themselves and keep it like that and not have to share it with anybody.
Thank you. But Well, no, not but. More of like an and, but that's not like grammatically correct. So I'm gonna say but.
Like furthermore.
Furthermore,
And also.
semicolon. Sorry. Like I have to survive, like I have to make a living, and like I obviously want to do what I love, and that comes with a certain like risk of like, okay, I am now sharing these secrets that once were between me and myself with everybody else. So it's like, and then it kind of gets to a point where it's like I kind of want to censor what I share, but then I can't be authentic in my work. Then I'm not the artist I want to be. Then there's no point in doing it at all. So it's like, okay, next. But yeah, like.
So what was the question? Okay, so vulnerability, how it shows up in my work. Well, as an actress, I feel like you have to present yourself. You are the vessel, you are the medium. So there's a lot of vulnerability in that. What? There's a lot of vulnerability in acting because you're just showcasing yourself. So I think it shows up. It usually shows up when I'm alone, though. Like, I don't know. I'm just so comfortable with myself, and I think even in NOCO, when he asked us like, "What's our fear?" and I was like, "Oh, me being completely myself and not being accepted for being completely me." So yeah, I don't know. I'm more vulnerable by myself, I guess. But I guess it shows up in my performances sometimes if I'm comfortable enough. That's my answer.
So like, what would you like developing that understanding or awareness?
What developed that?
Yeah, like what was it that you experienced that helped you be able to articulate?
Oh,
Like what helped you develop that perspective?
yeah. Honestly, don't know. I think I've always been like very like spiritual in a way. I don't know if that's the right term, but very connected with like my soul and like things that you can't see. So I think that's what influenced it a lot. It's like I'm trying to understand like what is this? And the best way I can communicate that is through filmmaking, through art. Like usually I don't have the words myself, so I'll use a character instead that has the words for me. Or sometimes it's just like any type of art, like poetry, or I draw, I paint a little bit. So through that as well, it's like I'm able to release stuff. It's cathartic. I'm just able to like, it's like therapy for me. You have an answer? You have an answer?
I think the most important part for, I guess, my creative process, which I guess started in like maybe 2022, was that I am a baby in this and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I don't know where this is going to go. It really just started as a hobby. I feel like sometimes when you're bored, your brain just starts doing stuff for you and just like, maybe that's just the universe just trying to tell you something like you also have this. Yeah. But I think being like a toddler or like just budding in this, especially at a more mature age, invites a different kind of perspective because you're like, oh, I see this, but I'm also at this age, so I understand it. It's a difference between seeing something and be able to understand. It's easy for me to look at a picture and be like, oh, this is a very nice picture. But at my age now, I can understand the picture, the tone, the message, or what I'm getting from it. And I think even now, I interpret it myself as just always being a student and being open to learn from life and applying that to what I'm doing. And I think I never want to be like, oh, I figured this out, because I feel like that's where you shut off that connection and you don't allow outside sources to be like, okay, I can understand this, or I can understand that. Just keeping an open mind and an open perspective allows me to just assimilate different forms of tones, colors, or whatever I want to do into my art. And I think just being a baby and being a student has allowed me to do like so much more than I ever thought I would. So that's probably my process and how I learned to be vulnerable with my work. And that was like the starting stages.
Very good answer.
That was a
He
great
speaks
answer,
so
actually. No. Yeah. Shit. Damn.
You speak so well. Yeah.
Of course, I gotta go after that.
But
But honest, shut the hell up, baby. But honestly, like, I wish my creative journey was more or less, like, dramatic, I guess. I feel like I experienced a lot of resistance getting to where I am right now. And I feel like life kind of like tricked me. Like I stumbled into this. Not that I didn't want to do it. Like it was more of I started out doing something else that was like almost there, but not quite. But I stuck with, like, for example, my major. I came into Spelman College. Thank you. As a political science major my freshman year, like I wanted to be a lawyer. Everybody always told me that I would be a great lawyer because I argue, and I was I was the
Yomari
youngest.
Below. She said, "What?
Yeah.
Lawyer?"
Yeah. So that's what happened, and then
Wow.
because that was safe, like it was security. That's what I prioritized at the time. And of course, like being a freshman going into college, like I feel like that was my first dose of like real life and like real responsibility. I felt like I had a help me out. I had a
Epiphany.
no. I was I had to get through that. And I had to be good at whatever I chose, and I had to be successful. Growing up, like it was always like grades, what's your report card looking like what extracurriculars you doing? And I don't know, I guess it just kind of stuck throughout life. And but with college also came a lot of opportunities for me to kind of just like try something new. And I actually ended up doing this like fashion show, and I learned a lot about like the creative process behind it and like creative direction. And I talked with a lot of people, and I was just like, like I would be so good at this. Yeah. And like even before that, like when I was young, I would like do my little YouTube videos and whatever. And sing. Oh my god, I would write songs. I've always done poetry. Like I still have some of my like old misspelled poems from like back in the days. But anyway, that's besides the point. I feel like we're all born creatives. That's why when we hear like, oh, we need to heal our inner child, and people go like draw or paint or even just like sit and watch an old cartoon from your childhood, like just let it free. Like I don't know. That's kind of what I had to learn. That's what I did. That's why I'm here, and that's what I plan on keep doing. That's what I plan to keep doing, because that's what makes me happy. And I feel like, what's the point of life if you're not happy? Exactly. And that's not to say you gotta be happy all the time, but like don't keep yourself in unwanted places and environments and around people that don't care about you, that you don't care about. Like you owe yourself more. So yeah.
Good answer.
Thank you.
It is embarrassing.
Thank you.
What has your experience been like?
So
At
far,
NOCO?
like as a creative.
In between those periods where you have to decide if you're gonna move forward or not in your creativity.
Whoa. Honestly,
What?
that's something I'm still experiencing.
For sure.
Like,
For sure.
I wouldn't say that I like doubt why I'm here, like what I'm doing or where I'm going. I feel like I know what I want to do, but it's a different thing like actually doing it and like being successful. This is a hard industry. And you know, at some days I'm like, you know, it would be so easy. I could be a lawyer. Like I could go to law school, I could get my degree, and I would probably be a damn good lawyer. And I would make money. I could keep my family afloat. Like I would be set. But at what cost? Do you feel me? Like, and to me, nothing is worth my peace, my joy. I probably wouldn't even make it that far if I did decide to be a lawyer. So whatever keeps me smiling, that's what I'm gonna pick. And I feel like as long as I keep that mindset, I don't see why I would choose anything else. But you know, life be lifing. So, you know.
I think what's important is being able to define what success means for yourself. To me, success doesn't mean money, riches, fame. Success means my happiness. And like you said, that's something that I cannot give up. Like, that is not transactional to me. I can't throw my happiness on the back burner ever. And in life, I feel like you're always torn between that. Like, you know, do I choose to do something because of the stability of it, the financial stability of it? Or do I choose to do something because I'm happy doing that? And so that's something that I definitely have been thinking about a lot more recently. I just like to stay true to myself as much as possible. And I guess in a way I'm kind of stubborn a little bit or closed-minded a little, but like nothing should go over my happiness. Like, and I don't know what life has in store for me. I don't know where I'm gonna be tomorrow or what's gonna happen tomorrow. But what I do know is that I'm gonna continue to always like try my best to hold on to faith because that's something I've always had since a kid. That's all I really know, and that's what I can trust for sure about myself. I'm not sure what's in store for me, like I said, but I know that at the end of everything, I know I'll be okay. I can trust that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, yeah. I think for me is just coming off what you said is the not knowing what's next. I think for me that's what excites me the most.
Whoa.
And not knowing like because growing up, just in the Black community, you know, it's like you always have that question: what are you gonna be when you grow up? And you're like 10 years old. You're like, I don't know. And for me, that was fun until you start getting older, and you're like, oh, like you know, I gotta figure out what I want to be. But I feel like I'm retracting towards that stage of life where I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna be. Like, I don't know what this is gonna bring for me, but that excites me. Like, not knowing where my art, where it's gonna take me, I'm like, that's what excites me. Because I feel like knowing where you're gonna end up just brings you a lot of that,
Low key, like
that, and it's just like you just have to follow a certain pattern.
yeah.
But for me, it's like I view life as like a jungle gym. It's not like a ladder. You don't just go up. You have to go down to go up. You got to go sideways to go up. There's different like things you have to latch onto in order to get to where you want to. And I think for me, it's just like I don't know where up is. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm going. I know I sound like a preacher. Like I know I'm going.
Nah, it's good though.
But like that's what I'm. That's literally what brings me joy. Is not knowing where this is gonna take me. Like 2 years ago, I didn't know I would be here, and I'm like, if I can look back and be like, that's so exciting because I didn't know I was gonna be in NOCO. I didn't know I was gonna have my first concept out last year. I didn't know I was gonna keep doing photography, and that's like honestly what brings me joy. Is like just that aspect of not knowing. I'm just like, yeah, let's do it, But yeah, what about you? You want to just you got
No, it's well, yeah, which is hilarious because typically I have not had somebody flip the table so quickly to ask me questions. But there is a space in the show where I do let the guests ask questions.
Do you want to wait?
But shit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But that's a great answer. Because can I ask? So that's why I'm like, were you always like that, or do you feel like you learned to be like that, to think that way?
I think it's a part of me that was just shut off. I would say, not consciously, just subconsciously, because I got more serious and more, and which there's nothing wrong with that. But I just got super like, oh, I have to know what I'm gonna be. I have to know what I have to be secure. I have to know what it's like to provide for a family. I have to know this. But over time, like these past couple years, I found myself just kind of regressing into that childlike curiosity and being like, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find out by just going there. I'm going to find out by just keep working on this. And that's why I'm always like, always be the student because it keeps you so invigorated and like just learning anything and all aspects of life, just not in being a creative. I think it's just good to just assimilate different learning experiences because you don't know where that's going to take you. You don't know one day where you just pick up a random skill. You'd be like, oh, I know how to do that. People ask you like, how do you know how to do it? You're just like, just life. And I think for me, that's the most important thing is just being open. Even though it turned like on the inside, I'm not a very open person, but trying to be through different mediums and just experiences, I think that allows me to just have this perspective. And I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm getting back to what I should be like as I was as a child. It's just like that inner child aspect, that inner curiosity. It just becomes so like it's like a fire, like a spark. You're just like, oh, like I forgot you were there. I forgot what that was like because you're just so focused on just growing up. And then when that part comes back, you're just like, this is fun. Like, why did I let this go? And you're just back on that path. And yeah, I would say that's probably the reason.
Nah, I feel like the reason I knew I was where I was meant to be was because of how much fun I was having. Like it literally felt like I was a kid in a candy shop. Like I wanted to know what everything did. I wanted to know who everybody was. Like it was just one of those experiences. And my first experience was actually with Reimagine. I talked about this like in class, but yeah, I went on a set for the first time because I sent Rihanna an email after she came and spoke at one of my scholarship events. And that's how I found out Reimagine. Went on set. It was so cool. I was so happy. It was a 2-day thing. I got a little pocket change and like little college me. Well, I'm still in college, but like back in the days, I was like, like I'm getting paid to do something like this. Like I would do this for free. Like, but yeah. So it was just like crazy. And right before that, I actually had started this like media production company, and I had put out my first like creative direction project. Then I deleted it, changed the name of the whole thing. Like it was so dumb. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing stuff. But like,
But you were just doing it.
yeah. And if it wasn't for that experience, I probably wouldn't have even like tried to pursue anything creative. So after I had did it the first time and I had already like shown people, even if it was for a few days, I was like, well, now y'all know. So here I go. Expect me more. Like, and that's exactly what I did. So now we're here. But it still took me like a month to put out my last project. So. But
yeah, I've been telling her to put that shit out for so long. Like, I was like, Kayla, post this. She'd be like, I don't know. I'm like, I just left out, just like, whenever she's ready, you know, no pressure. But I'm glad she was. It's just, bro, I just opened my Instagram and I just see all these pictures. I'm like, oh, so you just posted these pictures? But yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's just a feeling. You just be like, fuck it, like. But yeah, I think that's the whole point, and just being a creative is just the fuck it part. But it's also like, okay, let me do this. Just that fire in you, just like I'm open to doing this, even though I'm feeling nervous. I think that's what courage is. When you feel like fear, but you're still doing it. That's what courage is, and that's when you're really brave. So yeah.
Okay, you now am I supposed to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the question again?
I don't even remember. What was the question?
I have a question. If you can't remember that.
Okay, what's your question?
So, then like, you do a lot of things. Like, you a businesswoman, you have a podcast, you doing film, you said you done music videos, yada yada. So I guess my question for you is like, how do you go into all of these different environments and not like absorb or like feel the need to stay there or like put yourself in a box? Like, you have so many different creative mediums that you pursue actively at the same time. So it's like you don't come across one. Obviously, you don't come across one and you're like, oh, I have to stay here. Like, this is my thing, even though I'm also good at this and this and this and this.
That's just a character.
I have never thought about this, and no one has posed this question to me before.
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
Okay, say it to me one more time.
How do you not put yourself in a box?
Yeah. Or what makes you abandon the need for like having all of your eggs in kind of one basket as far as your skills and your likes and your passions and everything?
I guess I have always how I process what I need to do and what I actually do are two different things. So, in regards to how I process the things that I can do or need to do, I do not limit myself because I was exposed to so many experiences and knowledge at such a young age. We are on a globe.
Like, so who's that?
If you want to get rid of me, there are very many tactics documented that you can apply. I have studied them as well.
Wait.
So with that being said,
I got you.
I'm here. Yeah. What else am I supposed to do? I can study anything if I apply myself and I hold myself to a specific standard. If I know I can execute in this way, that is what I strive to do. If I know I need to develop, then do the development, because if I do not, that is when stagnancy occurs. what else do you think happened? Well, it's just going to be there because I'm seeing it play out, not just in my own life, but in very many other perspectives and aspects. Because what I think gravitates me towards the arts and what I do physically and outwardly, I go because I do not limit myself mentally, internally, outwardly, externally. I go to where I'm needed. I listen to what the people around me. So if there are energies around me where there is a solution, what have you, I am adhering to what is around me and where can I be welcomed and applied. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
But what about what you need though?
Well, I don't mind being by myself. You know, to your point that we were talking about earlier. I can feel myself because I know that the pace at which I work, I can't always, not even always. It is good to look for reflections of what you pour into people because you can't just pour and then don't get anything in return. But there's only certain, at least from what I've experienced, it's very rare to find somebody that completely does a full because it is just the fact that people are supposed to give you different things. And I'm okay with that. I will meet where that is happening because at the end of the day, where you cannot feel me, I will learn how to feel for myself. Because I am also my work comes from here. Like I can do with my hands, yeah, but that's why I gravitate toward people that are more that are at the same level I am or higher in particular aspects because I'm always around people that are smarter than me or like challenging each other mentally or what have you because or within our fields of passion because it's just like that is what fuels the okay, what do I need to do next? Because if we are actively trying to find solutions and these are like aligned with where I'm supposed to be in it and it always somehow naturally pulls me back. Like I got pulled back into creativity because a friend of mine, he he was doing a podcast. And during college, I was really just focused on school and my businesses. And I was starting this actually, but I was not about to do no video. I did not even want to record nothing. I was like, I am. These things gotta be messed up. Because I already know how I am. I'm like, I'm gonna be consistent. That's not the problem. The issue is like once it's out there, like it's out there and you have to deal with it and it's like so I had to like have confidence in myself to be able to deal with that at the level that I actually wanted to for myself. And then once I was there mentally and was physically doing it, they called me and was like, hey, we need your help to do da da da. I was like, okay. Because initially with them, I wasn't even supposed to be on camera. I just so happened to listen to an episode. I was like, bro, y'all are missing. Y'all have no balance at all. Like, this is not balanced if y'all are trying to do what y'all are trying to do. So then I got on camera and man, it just went from there. So at that point, I got to a point where it was like, I just looked up from doing what I was supposed to be doing within that space, and then like I never let up doing on my own thing because who gonna catch me if I stop? Like, I work at a very fast pace, and not just like physically, but like, I don't know. I just go where God tells me to go, and it's like sometimes what those opportunities lead to is more than what I thought it was, but I just adapt, and I'm just like, okay, well, shit, I gotta move a little bit faster because so and so needs this and so needs that. And it just so happens to be in these creative spaces where it's like, hey, we need people that are interested in, management and da 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 da, and it's in collaboration with so and so. It's like, okay, cool. Well, where you want me to go? They're like, show up here, and I just show up, and I just like, all right, well,
There you go.
yeah. So that's pretty much how, like, that's the best way I can answer it. Like, I probably with time I'll probably be able to define it better, but that's really all I got right now because it's slick like autopilot sometimes. Because some people ask me like, "Oh yeah, what happened?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know." Like I remember the first night I ever hosted something for a showcase. We did. It was this event. We had the title. We had to risk the title, but somebody tried to steal it. Anyway, no, they did, bro. I was like, yo, that wasn't the final product.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, but so at the first night it was like, bro, you did so good, like hosting. Like I did not expect you. I was like, sure, yeah.
Whole time you didn't know what you did.
I just remember they just literally. I was outside making sure all the equipment got up. I just finished making sure the DJ booth was good. I just made sure mic, sound, all of that was running well. Then I'm going to the front door, checking on tickets, making sure no chaos outside, security good, water cool, what have you. I'm coming back inside. I'm just now walking in the door. Somebody walks past me and does. I said, and then it's dark in the back. So like I turn around, I'm like, what?
Disappeared.
I said, bruh, man. And after that, it was raps. Yeah,
Just another question.
Okay. That was interesting. So thank you for your question too, by the way.
It was a good question.
Yeah, that kind of wow. Yeah, that was a great question.
Thank you for your answer.
For sure.
That was a great answer.
All right.
Shit,
So
I'm
to what
sorry.
brought us all together.
Last month.
We have already mentioned it. NOCO. What is NOCO? To those that don't know.
So, No Comments is a fellowship program by Reimagine. And they basically train us where we have two teachers over us, two amazing teachers. And we go there pretty much Tuesday through Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes, right? Creative stuff. So you just go. Anyway,
Just show up.
just go. But yeah, and we're all filmmakers, and we're actually making a movie right now.
Two
movies.
One this weekend, one next week.
Yeah. But yeah, we get training, a lot of programming, a lot of just like developmental things for our career paths. Very educational, great experience, great community. Yeah, love it down.
Safe place.
Yes,
sure.
extremely for everyone. Writers, DPs, gaffers, actresses, actors, everyone has a place. So tap in, low key, if you haven't. I mean, not sponsored, but like kinda, like basically, we are Reimagine. We are a part of Reimagine, and we're telling you to be a part of Reimagine.
I mean, eventually they will understand why if they don't know already. Because on top of the cohort and the collective that is created, what are the skill sets that you had previously before you got introduced to NOCO, and then what have you been developing while at NOCO?
Honestly, I had like no skill.
No?
Okay, I'm not gonna say that. Like I kind of just did what I could. You know, there was no real like educational experience. Like it was YouTube University for me.
Period.
Like
And that is a university.
YouTube is not a university,
It
right?
is.
YouTube is YouTube, girl.
You can learn so much. What do you
No,
mean?
but you can't. But I'm not that type of learner. I'm a very hands-on learner. I didn't have access to $1,000 equipment to like just use and build. I didn't know really anything about what went on behind the scenes. Even when I was on set for the first time with Reimagine, it was I was on set. It wasn't a training experience. I was there to be of help. I was there to work a job. So now that I have NOCO and I'm going like every week, I learn something new every single day. It's like I kind of know what I'm doing now. Like I'm confident. I'm more confident in my craft because back then maybe I had like the vision, but I didn't have the technique. And when I applied to NOCO, I literally talked about that in my little short film that I made to submit. Well, it wasn't a short film. It was a montage with the voiceover. But anyway, that's besides the point. NOCO really like changed everything for me. And I'm not really sure where I would have learned these skills. Eventually I would have learned them. But I didn't know how. I didn't even know where to start. But then I found NOCO and that was my beginning. And yeah.
I would say for me, I've known quite a bit about filmmaking because I've been like learning about it my whole life, really. So I guess NOCO has helped me find the right ways and effective ways to like make a film. Um, getting better at like communicating, I guess, getting better at like lighting because I really didn't know much about that, only very little. Directing as well, and also like I think it's helping me a lot in my personal life as well because I don't know, I'm just in a season right now, and I think it's perfect that I'm in NOCO while going through this like personal growth phase because it's helping me realize a lot of things and also helping me sharpen like certain skills that I'm trying to develop, and like it's helping me become the person that I've always been called to be, if that makes sense. um Yeah, like courage is a big one. I deal with a lot of anxiety, a lot. I think too much sometimes I feel, but NOCO has been helping me like just be like, okay, just try. Like this is a safe place to just try. Like who cares? Like even if you do mess up, like I know the people around me are gonna be like, it's okay. Like they're not gonna make fun of me or nothing, so I can just try.
Yeah, that was a really good perspective and answer.
Thank you.
NOCO for me is like a canvas, I would say. I think before joining, I was just, I knew I had a vision. I knew I was like, there are places I want to go, I want to take this. But I think NOCO gives you a canvas, or it's kind of like a sandbox. You have the tools there and you can experiment, which is a pivotal part about being a creative. You have to be open to experimenting even in situations where you're not comfortable with, which is also something NOCO enforces. It brings you out of your comfort space, because I remember when it was time to write scripts, and I'm like, I've never written a script in my life, but them just showing us different scripts, and even Paras just showing us his script and breaking it down and saying like everyone has their own style to write scripts. And I did not want to write a script, but in the process of writing scripts, I realized that putting my ideas on paper brings so much more than just having an idea and just going straight to executing it. You have to find that medium, that technical part where you're like, okay, I can. It's kind of like a hard drive. I would say you have to find a place where your art is safe, and you know it's a place where it's protected, and it's like in a box, and you can open that box whenever you want, and when you're ready to put it out there, you can put it out there. And the another part I like about NOCO is the you have other people in the sandbox too, and everyone's open to learning from each other. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. It doesn't matter if you came into this knowing about filmmaking or not. You see people like Rylan, who's in high school, and he's just learning. He's just like, I just want to learn. I don't know what I'm doing here. I just want to learn. And that inspires me at my age, because at that age, if they would have told me, hey, come to this filmmaking summer program at 17, bro, what? Summertime, a film program? I'm not going. Like, 17 is summer. I want to hang out with my friends. But just seeing him being so invested in what he wants at that age, it's like, okay, it puts me in, like, it makes me just understand that it's okay where you're at. It doesn't mean that you're in a bad space. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. As long as you're open to learning and being around people who are also open to learn, you're ultimately gonna grow. And we're all just watering each other. And it's really nice to see everyone just get closer, but also grow. And like before, like first time directing, we didn't really know what like the lights, the key lights. Now it's like as soon as you're like, oh, shoot a scene, someone will just be like, oh, I want the light here, or I want this light here, or I want this camera angle here. And it's like, it just comes like that. It's not like, oh, like, what am I doing? It's just like when you're around people who want to grow, you ultimately grow yourself. And it's just part of the creative process. And I think that's what really NOCO is. If you're looking for a sandbox and you're looking for some place to just test your ideas, NOCO is the right place for you, and Reimagine will help you figure that, because that's literally where I'm at. And I just asked them if I could borrow a camera, and they were like, "Yeah, go ahead." I'm like,
Yeah.
but "Yeah, that's go ahead."
Sorry. First, I want to say earlier you said you didn't think about not showing up first day. I'm so happy you showed up.
Yeah.
I really am. And I'm happy that you've had the experience that you had. I'm happy that you've realized why you showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you deserve that. And I hope that keeps going for you. And I hope you hold on to that inspiration after NOCO ends and keep pursuing your dreams. And miss me when I leave.
We're gonna be calling you like every day.
Nigga, you don't even call me now.
Because it's like I see you like
Okay, that's real.
I see you 3 days out the
That's
week,
real.
so I'm not
See your
gonna
ass
hit.
at 9:58.
That's real.
We definitely are gonna check out.
We have to. I'm
Yeah,
actually
we are.
not gonna leave y'all alone. Expect to hear from me. Thank you.
Listen,
Can I ask
Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to say something because he brought up the script, the screenplay. I wasn't going to pitch for a director. I wasn't. But I ended up going home that night and like I was patient with myself because I have to do that. I have to really be patient with myself. I took a shower, I decompressed, and I was like, okay, just chill out and let's just try. And I did it, and I was happy with the product, like how the slideshow came out. Maybe not how I presented, but the slideshow came out in the way that I wanted it to be. And from that moment, I was like, I am capable. Like, I can. And that's not even like a profound statement. Like, it's not like, but for me at that moment, it really was like, okay, like the catalyst for where I'm at right now today. In the back of my mind, I'm always like, I can, because I have anxiety. So it makes me feel like I can't. But then I'm like, but I can, because I literally proved to myself time and time again. I just recently proved to myself that I can. I can do anything that I put my mind to, I just have to be patient with myself. So that's just the main thing I struggle with. But NOCO has helped me also realize that, like, that I am capable.
That was beautiful. No, for real. Yeah, I feel like before NOCO, I didn't have like any. Okay, like my friends are creative. I feel like all my friends are creative, but they're not pursuing their creativity. I should say, like, they're not really people that I can like seek for advice on like my creative path because they're not
Serious
pursuing a
about
creative
it.
path. Not like I don't know. But so now that I have people that like, you know, they know what it's like, they understand how hard it is and like how just chaotic it can be sometimes. And it's something that you don't have to explain. And I feel like that's honestly the best feeling because like just that mutual understanding of like, all right, we in this together, like, and that's what NOCO showed me, like that I had people that I could reach out to and like could be there for me, even if it's just for me to lean on, even if it's like not anything creative at all. Like, yes, I can text you about a short film, but like I can also text you if I'm like having a really bad day. So I don't know. It's just it's hard to find that kind of duality, or it has been hard for me to find that kind of duality. I feel like I've always been like all or nothing, but now I found a balance. And that was just like really important for me, and I didn't even realize it. And it's gonna make it much easier for me moving forward in my creative journey.
Yeah. Okay. So I could ask more questions, but we will literally be here longer than what we already have.
That's it?
No, it's not it.
Oh.
This is when I pass the table to y'all. Like, you all can ask me any question you would like, whether it be pertaining to anything we've discussed previously, whether it's on topic or not. You can ask me anything.
Just pose a question and we can all answer. Yeah?
Or you all can pose your own questions. You know, buddy.
Here's a question.
Let's say, which creative medium would you find to be the most challenging, and how do you see yourself growing in that at the same time? Let me take a sip of this real quick.
I would say acting, and that is my number one. It's very difficult to be vulnerable as a regular person, like be vulnerable in your personal life, and then have to be vulnerable in front of people is even harder. So I would say acting for me is the hardest, but I don't know why I'm just so drawn to it. So I guess I'm up for the challenge. Like you said.
For me, mine is definitely writing. I feel like I put my darkest self in my writings, which probably sounds very like anonymous or like whatever, but like, nah, it's not like that. I don't know. It's just my raw emotion most of the time. I usually write like as I'm feeling, so that's how it just like it's like raw. Nails on a chalkboard, honestly. And yeah, I've never shared my writing like publicly. And yeah, it's just that's definitely my most challenging medium. For sure.
That's a good one. What?
I was proud of passing the mic, but I forgot.
Sorry. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What is the most challenging medium? I think I would have to agree with Yomari.
Oh yeah, because I haven't seen you.
Because yeah.
You didn't even do the thing. The directing actors.
Oh, you didn't ask for directing actors.
No.
And she knew that too and let it happen.
Crazy.
What?
She knew that and she let it slide.
That's crazy.
They were selecting their actors.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true.
But the only reason why I say it's a little challenging is not that I don't think I can't do it. I think I can or could tap into it, but I'm afraid of like tapping too far deep into it. Like whatever that actor was that did the Joker, that shit is real, bro.
Well, that's because he did a certain technique.
I mean, yeah, but like even on a other like lower scale, if you get too invested and you actually adapt that into your personality, that's dangerous.
Yeah. It is. Because even with Michael B. Jordan, when he talks about playing Killmonger, he literally said he had to isolate himself from family and friends, and even coming out of that, he still felt like he was in that space after the movie's over. So it's like I see why acting is such a like from a outside perspective, you're just pretending, but it's like no, you're assimilating some of that into yourself, and sometimes you can do it subconsciously and carry that with you, and that can be very scary depending on what your character is and the tone of the movie. So definitely understand why.
Not that I haven't really thought about it. Not that I haven't really thought about it that way, but I guess I never really like put myself in that and like thought about basically having your whole mental taken over by like a character that you had to portray. That's very scary. Somebody make a movie about it.
I say that acting is a spiritual thing for me, at least, like because it feels like that, like you said, I'm tapping into like a whole nother person, and it can be a lot, but at the same time it's like I learn about myself through that process as well, and I gain new insights and new perspectives, so I'm like always learning, like you talking about, and in a way it's like a release for me, because it's like I don't always feel comfortable expressing certain emotions in front of people. But like I said earlier, like through the character, if they're emotional, they have an emotional break in a scene or whatever, I can also add whatever that I'm holding out into that character. So it's like therapy, which I think some actors are against. Like, don't call acting therapy. Like, it shouldn't be your whatever. I mean, like, I don't care. So, and I have my own way of doing things. So,
Did you answer?
Answer. The most challenging is probably writing was a bit challenging, but I think growing up I've always been okay with like writing. It just depends on the format and which way I am writing. But I would say it's directing people, because I don't like telling people what to do at all. Even in photography, it's like if I have like a model and I'm just like, you have to do this a certain way, I just don't like saying it. But I think it also makes me more confident in what I can do, because I think that in directing, you have to be confident in your vision, and you have to be confident in knowing how to communicate with people. And directing people, I think, allows me to be what's the word? I guess allows me to learn different styles of communication, and knowing that people communicate different ways, whether it be nonverbal, verbally, just body language in general, and you have to find that space where you can both meet to like a common ground. And it's so challenging for me to be like, hey, I want you to sit there and look at the screen, because I don't know what your mood is, but you have to communicate why you want that person to sit that way. And I think that's where I'm finding myself growing. It's just finding comfort, and just being able to be like, okay, this is what I envision, and I have to communicate that to that person and see where they're at. So having that middle ground, I think that's the most important part, even though it is challenging at times. But yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The floor is on y'all. Y'all had to cook.
Let me think. Do you have one?
I know, Yomari, you said that success is you being happy in your work and finding comfort. And do you think happiness is something that has to be constant, or do you think it's something that has to be when you're there, you're there? When, like, how do you know you found that well, how do you know you've reached that point of success? Because for me, I feel like when people ask me just randomly, my mom will be like, "Oh, are you happy?" I'm like, I can't say yes or no. I'm like, I'm okay, but I can't say I'm happy, because happiness is like, it's only in a certain state of mind. No one's constantly happy, because you can be in a good mood, but being happy, I feel like, is just, I guess, extreme, and I can't really be like, I can't really say for sure that yes, I am happy. It's like, okay, what am I happy about? Then you start thinking about stuff. That's why I'm be like, oh yeah, I'm okay. So to you, what is the happiness? What is happiness for you in that success? I guess I know it's a very tricky answer, but
That's a very deep question, and I have never been this quiet ever in my life before. I'm so serious. Like, it's so hard recently for me to have words to say things. Happiness, I don't know if it's the perfectionist side of me, but I feel like that's happiness is where I could like look at every aspect of my life and be like, I'm happy about that. Like you said, people ask me how am I? I never say good. As a kid, I used to say good. Now I'm like, I'm okay, I'm chilling. Like, so I think the day where I'm able to be like, I'm happy, I'm good, is when I know that I'm good and I'm happy. Um, I was talking to my mom the other night, and she was like, it's so easy to um be negative. It's so easy to be pessimistic and like fall down that path. It's hard to keep your happiness and your peace, for sure. So she was just telling me how like everything that you do, every person that you meet, make sure that you surround yourself in an environment and around people that want to choose happiness too. And I think that that'll also help you get there. So it's not that I'm not happy now. I wouldn't say that I'm unhappy. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful every day. Even some this gonna be no, I don't even know if I should say that. But let me go ahead and censor myself. But even in the days where I'm like, yo, I'm tired, I can still say I'm so grateful for another chance. Like every day that I wake up is another chance to improve, to be better, to change my mindset, and to reach happiness. Would you like to answer?
I would like to have my 2 cents in. I feel like I don't think anyone is constantly happy, because I think we as humans are too complex for that, like far too complex for that. Um, my emotions personally come and go in waves, like as cliche as that sounds.
I relate.
Like they just I can't really, y'all know that lyric, um you can you can plan a pretty picnic. All right, let me restart. Cut that out. You can you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. That's like so real, because it's like, okay, I would love to wake up every morning chipper, go about my day, be happy all day, but like shit shit happens. But I do think that if you can't be happy all the time, well, okay, I'm not gonna say you. If I can't be happy all the time, I'm gonna at least choose to like progress forward. Like, okay, if I'm sad, then maybe I'll just be okay. Like, let's just get to a different place to where maybe I'm taking some steps towards happiness, but I'm not gonna beat myself up if I don't get there, you know? And happiness will come. Happiness does come. Like,
Every time.
we have moments of happiness. every day. I would say.
Yeah.
Would y'all agree we have moments of happiness every day?
Yeah.
Maybe not every day.
Or maybe not every day, yeah.
But
But
yeah.
so it's just like, when it's there, it's there. But I don't think that happiness equates to success at all.
What do you mean?
Like I wouldn't say right now I'm successful, but I would say right now I'm happy. I would say beginning of this week, I literally like hated my life. Like I showed up at, y'all don't even know this, but we'll talk about it because it's funny now. But I showed up at NOCO like in distraught, bro, from my visa appointment. I thought my visa was getting denied. I couldn't even get on my car. I got lost on the way back to my car from my visa appointment, like, because I was just walking through the city, literally in tears, like sobbing, complete distraught. Got to NOCO, sat in the parking lot for like an hour. Yomari came outside, talked to me. I felt so much better. Went into NOCO. I felt even better being around y'all. And nobody had to like, well, besides Yomari, nobody had to like, like hype me up about it and like get me excited, make me happy. I was just surrounded by people that brought me joy. And like that's how the rest of my day was. Like even Yomari said when she came out to me, she said, okay, this is how your morning is going. Yes, like feel that now, but don't allow it to carry out through your day. You don't have to have a bad day just because you had a bad morning. And from that point forward, I decided, yes, yeah.
I swear I just be speaking sometimes. Some people not even know.
Literally
Yeah,
a
be like,
I'm
vessel.
glad that's what I said then.
Yes, but and
She said a vessel.
I decided like, okay, like I'm here now. I know that I love being here. There's never a day where I wake up and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah,
always
honestly, same.
excited to go to NOCO. Honestly, I'd be ready to go to NOCO.
Me too.
Going to sleep, clothes laid out for NOCO. Like I'm playing.
Something I want to add real quick. Also, like if you're always happy, I feel like without the sadness, without the bad, you wouldn't understand how important happiness actually is. Like, you wouldn't feel how good it feels. Like it's just life. You're gonna go through stuff. Like girl, like just always know that there's always an upside. Like you don't always stay where you're at unless you choose to stay there. But things always look up. Like always. You gotta trust that. Any other questions? Do I have a question?
You got any questions?
Okay, one last question. With everything that's been said, everything we've addressed today,
Sorry, it's okay.
what is that vision that you see for yourself? And then I can answer it too.
How about you start?
To the best of my ability.
Yeah, you can start.
What?
Yeah.
Dang, why can't we start with you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Paraphrasing, you said what's the vision that we see? What's the vision? I think my vision for me is being able to express my stories through different mediums of art, specifically through filmmaking, but I think just through my life experiences, I think I have a lot of stories and just things, visions that I want to express into the real world, but it's how I want to express that. That's kind of that's the bugging part, because I'm interested in doing sound. I'm interested in doing filmmaking, just photography, but it's just that finding that cohesiveness between all of them together. I think that's the biggest part for me. I think that's where I want to take my vision to where you can not just see, but also hear, so you can feel the story. Because I think all those three work so well in unison.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the way I see my work is through sound and sight. And to me, that's just one of the more basic aspects to being human, being able to hear something and being able to see something. And for me, the connection has always been like just back and forth. Sometimes I can look at a picture or a video and I can be like, oh, what would this sound like? And I will literally just get on Logic Pro on my piano and just
That's crazy.
try to make something out of that. And sometimes I literally listen to music and I see pictures in my head of what certain chords sound like or intros and outros. And I'm just like, it would be nice for me to just put that on like a screen or put that on to a still. And I think my vision is just finding that middle ground and finding that balance where it's all cohesive. So not one is taking like not just one part is too focused, but there's enough space for each to be visible and you can hear it also. I think for me that's just my ultimate goal. And if I just get to that point where I'm just so seamless with it, I'm like, I'm good. Like nobody can tell me shit. Like yeah.
So,
No, I will. I will.
I think the vision I have for myself, I want to do what I want, like, and not give a fuck about it. Um, like Emmanuel said, like I love so many different things. Like I said in the beginning, I'm a creative through and through. Like I love music. I used to want to be a fashion designer. Like I like sewing. I still sew to this day. I say to this day, like I didn't just start sewing like last year, but that's besides the point. But I love music. I love just art. I love art in general, and I hope that one day I can put out the art that I love and not have to answer to anyone about it, and not have to clarify the fact that I can be multidisciplinary or that I do this, and that. And I literally just do it. And yeah, that's that's what I hope to do. That's my ultimate dream.
I feel like my answer is very different from everybody's because this is the first time in my life where I'm like, I'm not even sure really if this is something that I'm going to pursue for real. Like, which is crazy. Like, I haven't even said that out loud. Whoa. I don't know. I just know my purpose, like I said earlier, is to serve and to love. And I think that the vision for my life is doing that. I hope it is through my passion because I'm passionate about my passion. But if it's not through that, like, I don't know. Regardless, I know I'm just gonna be very, very fulfilled. I just trust like where I'll end up will be okay, and that I will be doing what I'm have been called to do, and I know that in doing that I will be happy. So yeah.
It's okay not to know too.
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Cause that's what I was about to say. I don't know nothing.
It's crazy because I've been like since I'm literally like since a kid, guys, like acting, like as literally like obsession, hyperfixation, and now I'm like I still love it, of course, but I'm like I think it'll be okay if I don't end up doing that. Before I was like, no, like I have to do it. Like that is my calling. Like that. No, my calling is to love and to serve.
That is very real. I think if you have not knowing, like I said, that's literally what I'm excited about. And I think if you can find a way to be like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but you have like all these options. And that's where that experimentation process comes in, experimenting with different mediums. And sometimes it might be two mediums that come together to make one. It might be acting, but also directing. It might be this and that. And that's kind of what NOCO does. It just putting us into this different position. So nobody's ever uncomfortable and like, oh, I don't know how to do this. It's like, no, you know how to do it. You're just holding yourself back. And yeah, it's okay not to know. Like that's I don't think like anyone on this planet has like a really set, like, this is where I'm going to be at this age. You can say it, but nobody really knows where they're going to be at, because it's also external factors, things you cannot
Yeah.
control, and you have to find,
Mhm.
you have to be able to navigate around that. And the biggest part about this space that we're in, yes, we have this mediums, but it's also learning how to navigate people, because you're going to run across so many people with different crazy ideas and art, and you have to feel comfortable. Let people use you, but don't let them misuse you. I think that's an important part, and do the same vice versa. Use people, but don't misuse them, because I think sometimes people are just so closed off, and they're just like, this is my art and I don't want anything to happen to it. And I understand you have to be protective of like what you're doing, but it's okay to let somebody be like, hey, I have this idea and I'm hoping that you can help me with this. Don't be so shut off to the idea, because I am very like anti collaboration, because I hate that word, especially in Atlanta. I hate when people be like, hey, yo, like, let's collab. Like, I hate it. If I see that in my DMs, I'm like, bruh, like, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's just you doing the work and you coming up with the idea and them just being there. But I think once you start to find your niche, it's people just being like, "Hey, you can do this. I can do this also." And you're like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do this." And you're just finding this network of just people, life, and different experiences. And I think that's what leads you to where you want to be. And whether you like it or not, it's just where you are. And you're just in the space. You're just like, "Oh, I didn't know I was going to be here." But before, you didn't know, but you're already there. It's like you don't understand how important the journey is until it's over. And when it is over, you're just like, okay, what's next? Keep going. There's no final destination.
Yeah.
I think that's the important part to all of this. Just keep going, even though you don't know where you're going to end up. You're still growing. A tree doesn't know where it's going. It's just, I'm just going to grow. I'm just going to grow. As long as the sun is there, as long as I'm just going to grow. And I think if you just add that to your everyday life, you too will grow. So, yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly the reason why I hate when people, well, I'm not going to say I hate, hate's a strong word, but I don't like when people place that kind of like quota on their life and it's like, oh yeah, by 25, I'm going to have this and this and that, blah, 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 because it's like, you really could be unintentionally limiting yourself, because what if you could have been further by 25? Now you're not working towards that as fast as you really could have if you didn't put that in your mind in the first place, or like plant that seed and force yourself to live up to it. Honestly, just take life as it comes. That's the best. Y'all didn't ask for advice, but I'm gonna give it. Take life as it comes. And choose happiness and choose love.
Yes, please.
Above anything, for real.
Yeah.
Hate not gonna get you nowhere, but hell. Thank you.
You should actually like, and I know you should really start tapping into writing. Like,
Yeah,
You
it's
should.
like the crazy thing is like
I would read your book.
What book?
Yeah.
The one I have a name.
Like, you so annoying, bro. Oh, jeez. Yeah, somebody take the mic. Take his
I'm
fucking
crying.
mic.
In regards to vision, a lot of the things that solidify my vision for me is what you all talked about specifically. But I just got steps and a mental, if that makes sense. And it just said, not the mental, but what it put me in was basically, this is what you could achieve mentally. It's your choice if you want to attain that or not.
mm-hmm.
By choosing to do so, you're also choosing to walk this spiritual path, for lack of a dynamic word, or more dynamic word. But it's that's kind of how I solidified how to step forward, because outside of that, it wasn't a title or like a position or something that I physically saw that I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I was just like, I just want to, be good at it, be able to like survive. Like I just don't want to be broke. Like please, Jesus, like not even on a sense of like materialistic, but like even internally, I don't want to have like, yeah. I don't want to have to make. I don't want to. No, I don't want to have to go through that. I don't want to have to go through that if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Or make those types of decisions if I don't have to. So to step away from that and stay on this path, like that's the only thing I knew to move forward. It was just like, okay, you say you want to achieve this or get into this atmosphere, or we're giving you this of what you're at right now. This is where you could be. Okay, if you're choosing to do this, next thing you need to do. You're curious about this. Go explore it. Okay, let me ask questions. I'm not afraid to do that. Well, I don't like talking publicly. Hate it. But I mean, I did it. Teachers kept asking me to, so I was like, please, everybody else. There's all these kids in polos and y'all going to me like, but yeah, so it was just little things like that just started accumulating, and then NOCO was my first encounter with people outside of my bubble that were also invested into just exploring their curiosity in a professional manner, at least. Because that's one thing I will say, like, the reason why creativity is so hard and like interestingly manipulated is because people structure their own atmospheres and try to build off that to do what they can to have the materialistic to back it up, if that makes sense.
It's not like a set blueprint.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like people just have their own building blocks, and they try to like apply that into like the practical aspects of how the world works. And sometimes it's just like you just have to use your own building blocks to where you're gonna get to. You can't be like, oh, I'm a creative, so I'm gonna do this and hope I make as much money as. No, you're a creative. Just keep doing what you're doing. There is no blueprint to like, hey, if you do this, you're gonna get this. It's so many people that are talented and they just don't have that medium. They don't have the tools, and it's like I see why some people are just like it's draining to just think of all these. I mean, we've all been there where you just have all these ideas that you feel like just larger than yourself, and you're just like, fuck it, like I'm not never gonna do this idea. But I think being able to outsource yourself and find those places where your building blocks do work, which is NOCO, where you can be like, oh, they give me a sandbox, but I know what I want to do and I can build with that. Because doing it by yourself is not easy at all. It's not. I'm trying and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? It's just unnecessary stress. That's why I'm like, it's okay to let people use you. Like if I didn't go to that healthy grandparents program, I didn't know like I learned so much from that if I didn't go, I'd probably just be like, okay, I didn't know anything about that, and my life would just keep moving. Not saying that I would be in a bad place, but being open to assimilate that into how I am and how I perceive the world. I didn't know that program was a thing, but now I know. So it's just important to know that. I good. It's just important to know that your building blocks are so essential to how you want to work in the world. It's not, you can't look at another person's blueprint and be like, oh, I'm going to add that. I'm going to use that as my way to being a creative, because it's not just going to work. And it doesn't matter if you guys are in the same, I guess, medium. It's just how you interpret your work and how intentional you are about your work matters too, because it's easy to call yourself. Sometimes it's easy to call yourself you're creative because you're just like, oh, I can paint or I can take a picture. But it's like, what are you trying to do with that? Who are you trying to reach? Is this something that's reciprocal? Are you getting something from that, or are you just doing it because it's something that people like to see? So your own, make sure like you're using your building blocks the right way, because you can fuck around and build some shit that you don't fucking like, or you can let other people build shit, build a wall for you, and you're just like, oh, see how all these artists get into these labels, and you're just like, they can't express that creative side anymore because they trying to assimilate themselves into this practical aspect of the world that doesn't want that, and you're just like, oh, you're creative, but you're creative in this box, and that's all you are. And which is why I hate titles. I never want to be in a place where people are telling me this is what you are. Like, we like what you're doing, but you also like, this is what you are, and you can't ever go outside that box. To me, like, maybe it's just me, my sign. I hate being constrained. Anything that I feel like is tugging me back, I will cut that shit off. I don't care who it is. Yeah, because like, yeah, like, because some people, yeah, like some people, like people always tell me like Sagittarius was so quick to just move on, but I think for me it's just like, if I feel like I'm done with something, I can't go back and be like, oh, like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm gone. It's like in my rear view, like I can't see it like anymore. And I feel like if something is tugging me back, it doesn't matter how close or how I'm attached to that thing, I will cut it off if I feel like it's just dragging me back. So I feel like to everybody out there, just, it doesn't matter if you're creative, just any aspect of life. It's so easy to become docile because you're like, you have certain attachments, and you're like, if I let this go, what's gonna happen? Is this thing gonna hate me? This thing, am I gonna have some type of resentment? It's like, if it's pulling you back, you'll have to cut it off. It's no, you have to preserve. Self-preservation is important in building a community also, because that's how you're able to be like, oh, I can provide for people because I can provide for myself. You can't have nothing and give everything. That's not how the world works. You have to make sure you have something for yourself and keep building that something. You can be like, oh, I can help this person, I can help this person. And that's how you build a community. And I might go a little bit off rails, but I think that's just the essential of being a creative. Just making sure what you build is intentional to you, and you're just sharing it to everybody else. You're not doing this because people like it. You're just like, oh, I did this, but y'all can look at it too if you want. And that's the biggest part. So yeah.
Yeah, that's real. I definitely agree with that. So that being said, are there any last thoughts?
I actually came up with a question finally.
Uh-oh.
I was gonna ask, so you see how like as creatives and stuff, how we can have conversations like this, like and actually connect with one another and be vulnerable. I feel like other people that aren't in the creative field are opposite, like they don't really know how to have conversations like this. So why do you think as creatives that we almost always are able to relate in this way? Like whether it be connecting with spirituality, like why are we like that?
I would say because it's something that's inevitable. I feel like in a way, that's a part of us that we're kind of forced to connect with in order to express ourselves creatively. Like when you said like spirituality and like with each other, like we go through all of these experiences, and it's honestly kind of like trauma bonding. Like we just kind of like I was saying earlier, like we don't have to explain it. It's just a common understanding. We hear and we know what it took to have to get to this point, no matter how far or close you are, and well, how early or late you are in your creative journey. Like it's hard to even get started to begin with. So it's just kind of like a level of respect off bat that I have for creatives personally, because it's like, man,
For sure.
We're going through this.
right, like
Me too.
shit. But yeah, that's my answer.
Um, Paraphrase again the question.
Why do you think as creatives that we always have this like commonality where we are in tune with like something that isn't earthly, or like how we're able to just
I think it's a really good question. I think we're like water. I think we take shape of our surroundings. I think we're able to just we're able to just take shape of our surroundings and make that to what it is. And I think on the opposite spectrum is like you're like a rock and you feel like you have to kind of just mold and do everything in a forcible manner because if you feel like you don't do it, you're gonna chip and shatter. So some people are just so like focused and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be this no matter what," and I don't want to let any outside influences. I don't want to let anything like take me away from that path. And there's nothing wrong with that, but don't let that consume you because I think once you put a certain label on yourself that this is what you are, especially starting from a very young age, I think that just shuts you off completely from just allowing yourself to take shape of your surroundings. Because if you're a rock, you can't fill a body of water. You're just kind of there. But if you're a body of water, it doesn't matter what's around you. You're able to fill up that space because that's what you're naturally attuned to. So I think you just have to take into consideration as like you have to allow parts of yourself to be malleable, allow parts of yourself to be fluid so you can be like, okay, I see what this is now, but I can use this to my advantage. And once you're just kind of just fighting and just struggling and just, you just get tired quickly and you're just like, you see some people who are so dead set on a destination and they get there and they're just like, okay, what now? They've completely shut off any aspects of understanding, but they're just stuck there because they don't know what else to do. That was your end goal. But if you see the ocean, we don't know where the ocean goes. The ocean is just there. And once you're like that, it's really like the world is your oyster. Like nothing is stopping you. So yeah.
Um,
Oh, well, I
Wait.
How should we end? Like, what is one last thing we should all say to end?
Well, I'll
the
answer
philosophy
your.
of chilling.
No.
I'm weak. Well, I'll answer your question first.
Oh, yeah,
Cut that
yes,
out.
yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry.
No, you good. Don't say sorry.
I apologize.
I really despise that word. Honestly.
Hey, but you hear me? Cut that out.
For sure. What do I?
Why do you
I-
the question?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I think. Well, not I think, but from what I've experienced, it's about how someone deals with pressure. Even with some creatives, like all creatives are not the same. Like some people think, oh yeah, you do graphic. They think the title is just it. Like you just the person that make the shit. So, you know what I'm saying? You made your little file, like
Yeah.
But no, each person behind the graphic designer or the whatever has it come with some stuff, man. Like, and it depends on how even those individuals deal with it because what I've seen or what I have heard, what other people have lived through, like it's it's so much of it on a variety that it's so much of a variety. There it is. It's so much of a variety of those experiences. Dang, what is happening? But I mean, it's true though. Like it's various cases, and then how that individual deals with each of those issues plays a part into how that communication actualizes itself. Like if you notice there are certain people or personalities or souls that connect in a creative space. It's inevitable. Like You will.
So that's everything to me.
It
That's
really
all I
is.
crave.
It really is
It's connection.
everything.
Mhm.
That's being human, though. That's what
Yeah.
first when
Right.
you're born, the first thing you're looking for. What mom's at?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially when you know you're in a group of like-minded people. Like we all came into NOCO with some type of vision in mind that all kind of aligned. All of our visions aligned in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
So of course we all connected. Like,
and what I'm saying is like what you went through before you got to that point, before you were able to walk through that door, is what plays a part in that.
mhm.
Because some people mask that part to make the application look great.
Mm.
That's
You know what I'm
really-
saying?
Yeah, that's life.
So, but you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now it's like the people that are trying to numb or trying to like suppress the person that is clearly like, just please. Like, even with some creatives, the ones that try to constrain themselves are not doing what their soul is like, just let me breathe. And you even see them struggling, but it comes off differently. And that's fine. But when it comes to having conversations, are you in your mental space willing to accept what I have to give you? And not all people are willing to do so, because if you say something that actually hurts their feelings, now they're just reacting. And I've reacted before, but even then, in my reaction, I'm like, sometimes in my head, I'm like, sometimes I'm blacked out. But all I can do at that point is come back to be like, oh, I apologize. But when I commit to the growth, it's like that moment becomes different. It's more like, okay, instead of blacking out, it's like, hold on, wait a minute. This feels familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. Like, let's try to handle this differently. And sometimes there's frustration because I'll be saying one thing like, hey, let's walk away. You know, what if we just try to say this in a different tone and not what's coming out naturally right now? And sometimes the body is just like, fuck that shit. I'm gonna meet you where you trying to come meet me at.
Yeah.
And then it just be like, but what if we like not try to do that? And then it'd be like, so it just it just gotta get stronger and stronger on just the aspect of being like, yeah, bro, you're tripping though. Like, what happens if you wait 3 hours, 3 minutes from now? Something
What?
like in the moment when you're feeling all of that.
Yeah, like giving yourself time.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Instead
I
of
see.
just reacting instantly and just being like, yeah, let me just.
Yeah.
Okay, but you were upset about somebody hitting your car, but then you come to work and find out that all your coverage is paid for and you don't have to worry about doing this or doing that. Well, now you done cuss the motherfuckers out on the insurance by calling them prematurely because you didn't have all the right information that they needed. Now you got all the right information you needed. Now you done found out you good. Like, well, no, it actually didn't happen to me. Happen to me like that, but I was just like depicting like a situation, just in terms of where it's like it may look one way in the moment, but not everybody is willing to be like come back and say, okay, maybe I need to take a breath and address the moment that I felt, why I felt it, to be able to come back and then have this conversation where it's like I have to recognize this person is genuinely just trying to understand, have a conversation. They're trying to also identify their humaneness in this exchange of time and energy and presence. And if you can get out of your head to address that, then you can, I bet you can look at the situation and be like, okay, well, shit, maybe I am tripping. Like,
That's why silence is so important.
It's like standing too close to a pain. Like you probably just see one thing, but you just really just gotta back up and be like, okay, I see it. But when you're too close, you're just seeing maybe just a certain part of the picture, and that's your whole world. That's all you know because that's what you're focused on. But thank you. But when you,
Thank you.
but like when you're standing that close, that's why perspective is so important. Because some people you're just standing close to the paintings, and sometimes it's not their fault. That's their whole world. And
Yeah.
you talk to certain people, you're just like, it's not your fault. That's just
Yeah.
what you know, and you can't hold that against them.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest part is teaching yourself how to step back and seeing more. And the more you step back, the more the painting makes more sense. And
Mm.
sometimes there's no final destination to where you step back to. You're just always looking back and like, okay, I understand. Okay, I understand.
Mm.
Okay, I understand. And all just assimilating. And you just reach a point where you're just like, okay, this is what I have to keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow yourself to follow that path. So yeah, because sometimes I can be very
Ooh, ooh, ooh. So you been spitting all like everyone has been really like I don't know if people watch this and don't grasp anything from this conversation, but like that was just like a nice little icing on the cake of everything we discussed this entire time.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, appreciate you.
So,
But
How many
yeah.
words you have?
I like but yeah, that's pretty much it. Just step back, man. That's it.
I'll say one last thing.
Go ahead.
But also like understanding that yes, this life is yours. Everybody has their own personal life, but being able to see the bigger picture and understand that it's not just your story. It's everybody's. Like it's a web, and you have to be able to step out of yourself and stop taking everything so personally. Like
Don't take anything personally, actually.
your life is your
Don't
life.
take no.
just
Listen.
address your
Address,
personal
yeah,
feelings.
address
Like,
Mm,
be real with
because
yourself.
as human
But-
beings, I think we take things personally passively too. Sometimes,
Yeah.
but we don't have to.
But it's just how.
But we have to choose this.
Yeah, we have to.
Like some people
That's
be
what
like,
I'm
I take
saying.
this personally and I'm gonna dive into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's what I'm saying. Okay, how about this? Understand that not everything requires an emotional reaction. Allow yourself to feel things, be human, but you don't have to react to everything. You don't have to pour out your energy all the time because you got to save something for yourself, Buki. Like, it don't even be worth it. And yeah, people are not worth it like that. But remember that we are literally all like the same person, technically. Like,
Well, how do you
we're-
manage that then?
how do I manage what? Sorry, that's not like how do I manage what? But
I
like,
didn't take it personally.
okay, perfect.
How
Good.
do you manage learning to not take everything personal, like in your life, if you don't mind sharing?
I feel like I just had to realize that the world is so big. Like, we are so small. Like, obviously, small doesn't mean insignificant, but we are so small. And there's just like so much else that goes on that is so much more important, and things that are going to happen in your life years from now to the point where, like, you're
None of
not
it's
gonna
gonna matter.
like it literally does not matter. Like,
Yeah.
and it might hurt so bad now. You might feel like your world is falling apart, but I promise, like, you might look back and laugh, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll forget about it for the rest of your life. But either way, you lived. So
Mm.
for real, like, it's just life,
Yeah.
literally.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's insane.
that is also a great point. And wait, what did you say?
Nothing.
I'm crying. That is also a great point. And that also answers your question earlier because when it comes to how I wrap up the show, we're all 24 years old or under. We're young, and we have a lot of future in front of us. So with that being said, there's a lot coming soon, brewing currently.
Expect us.
Oh yeah, for sure. With that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to them. Let them know, remind them who you are, where to go to find all your info.
Oh.
Period.
What is my info?
So my name is Kay or Kayla. My personal Instagram is at KYYELIZ. My I guess creative account is Miati Media, MIATI Media. I hope y'all know how to spell media. And thanks for watching.
My name's Yomari. Follow me on TikTok _YMARII. That's about it. And I want to thank you, Dunlap, for inviting us over to your humble abode and for being so kind and allowing us on your podcast. I had an amazing time. And I feel like I learned some stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Hey, my name is Emmanuel. My Instagram is Noir Natives, so NOIR and then Natives. I don't have like a separate page. Everything that I am is in there. So people were like, "Oh, you're mysterious. You don't post yourself," but that doesn't matter. It's just the work. My work is me, so that's how I view it. If you see my work, you're seeing me. So, yeah. If you like my work, follow. If you want to collab, don't just be like, "Hey, let's collab." Just present an idea, something. Don't be like, "Hey, let's collab," and I'm just like question mark. But yeah, I would literally just be like question mark. But yeah, and to everybody out there, just be open. That's life. Be open, even when you don't want to. It's so important to be that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. With that being said, I'm done with the connect.
What was that?
Oh, peace up. A-town down.
Yeah.
All right. We
Stop,
out
why
here.
you silent?
Peace.
Bye.